It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha! Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brouhaha. Marshall Wood and Dale McKee here, settled up and ready to ride. How's it going there, Brother Dale?
Couldn't be better, man. The weather's beautiful today on this Tuesday.
Oh, isn't it something? I was looking at.
We ought to sell it, can it, and sell it.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's over the next week, and it's just nothing out of the 80s and high, and down. It's just this is football weather.
Yeah.
Are you having any fun yet?
It's going to start getting fun this weekend. Got two big SEC games in the state, and I won't talk about the Saints. We'll just bypass that.
Let's just look the other way. Keep moving. Nothing to see here.
We'll just let them go enjoy England or wherever they're going this week. Maybe they can find them a quarterback over there or something.
Whatever they need, maybe they'll find it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we've got a guest tonight. We've got a pretty good one. Not that all of them are, but I mean.
Hey, we're very honored to have who we have. We have Dr. Mark Keenum. He is the president of Mississippi State University.
Yeah.
That's in Starkville, if you didn't know.
Starkville, Mississippi?
Starkville, Mississippi.
Okay. He's not only that, he's a lot of stuff. I was reading up. I didn't realize he was on Thad Cochran's staff up there in Washington, D.C. at one time.
I see. That is impressive.
He's covered a lot of ground now.
Yeah.
And what gets me, he is the president of Mississippi State University, graduated from Corinth High School, right all up there. I mean, he is homegrown through and through, man.
Well, he played, I like these presidents that got a little sport, especially in the SEC, because I think you need it. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ole Miss chancellor, he was a high school football coach years ago, and Dr. Keenum here, he played football at Corinth and he played at Northeast Mississippi Junior College.
Yeah.
So he
knows how to get it done.
Sure, so he knows what the athletes are going through. And of course in the SEC, I really think you have to have a president with a little sports background.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, not to interfere, but just to kind of understand what's going on.
I guess one thing you talk about is sports, and I mean, we may have already mentioned this, but it's worth mentioning again. I mean, of all the hats this man has worn through his career and is wearing now, he's really at the top of the heap in this CFP business.
He is the director.
He's the director of the governing board or something like that?
CEO, ever what it is. Yeah. He is. He's over. I think it's a
board of managers.
Yeah, 11 person college football playoff board of managers, and of course he is the president or the chairman, or what we want to call him, of it, director of it, and so I think he's got a great responsibility. But he brought everybody to the table during a very difficult time when people didn't. They were, if you remember, take back a year ago, the ACC, which is Clemson and them are part of, and the Big Ten, and then the Pac-12 out there, they were all resisting the expansion of the playoffs. And he just kind of took the leadership role, and he brought them all together, and now we've at least got a 12-team format to start with. So we're going to ask him a lot of questions about that today.
Okay. Well, I'm excited about it. I know you are, I know our listeners are. So let's take a break here from our sponsor, and then we'll be back with tonight's guest right after this break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Mississippi State President Dr. Mark Keenum. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your demanding schedule today. I know you're a busy man. You got the Aggies coming to town Friday night and Saturday. Saturday. We're kind of self-conscious of high school football area in our area. But anyway, in the past, being a radio host and a sports writer, my first college prediction every year was to name the Final Four in the college football playoffs. And you have made my job a lot harder. I just want you to know that. And so, but I guess it's easier to pick 12 than 4. So
That's true.
when will we have the 12-team college football playoffs? When do you anticipate us actually having that playoff, a 12-teamer?
Well, I wish I knew the answer to that, Dale, and we're excited that the Board of Managers for the College Football Playoff Board approved expanding to a 12-team format, and it's something we've been working on now for just a little over 2 years, and it's taken us a while to get to this point. We did it earlier this month on September the 2nd as a board, and what we did, we asked the management committee, which is made up of the commissioners, plus the athletics director for Notre Dame, to come up with a plan for starting the new playoff format. Our hope is that we can begin as soon as the 2024 football season. And if we can't get it done that quickly, then we hope no later than 2025. But if we can't get it done by then it will have to happen by 2026. And the reason I say all of this is because we still have this season and 3 more seasons under the contract, the media contract with ESPN. And so we had to have a unanimous vote of our board of managers to enable us to amend our contract with ESPN. So we've got to work those details out with our media provider for the media rights with them. They have the exclusive rights to produce our playoffs. I know we're going from 3 playoff games now to 11 playoff games. So there's a good bit of logistics involved in this. And then just back about a week before we did our announcement from our board of managers, we announced the 2 playoff sites for the 24 season and the 25 season. 24 will be played in January of 25. That will be in Atlanta. And then for the 25 football season, will be January 26. That will be in Miami. And we just worked out the contracts with these 2 cities. And then we came and announced that we were trying to expand the playoff, and so it means that we're going to have to move our games to a later date. And there's a good bit of logistics involved in doing all of this. So that's why we turned to our commissioners to try to work out some of these logistical details. But we did, as a board, ask them or direct them to do their best to try to bring this new 12-team format to our college football fans nationwide, hopefully by the 2024 season.
Well, let me ask you something. You know, you're telling us the process took you a couple years to conclude, and I'm sure there's a lot of players in the room. I'm sure there's a lot of agendas on the table, and anyway, but it seemed like about last year, maybe after Texas and Oklahoma decided to join the SEC, it seemed like the ACC, Big Ten, and the Pac-10 kind of came together. The Pac-12 came together, and it seemed like they were the holdup. So, how difficult it is for you to get a unanimous decision out of all these people? I'm sure it was difficult, but and you can share with us what you'd like to share with us.
Sure, it took a while. You got to go back to summer of 2021, and that's when the sub-working group of the management committee, the commissioners, and Commissioner Greg Sankey of the Southeastern Conference was a member of that subgroup. That's the first time they unveiled this format proposal, this 12-team format, to the board. So we didn't see this until last summer, and we knew we couldn't adopt it immediately. We had to have an opportunity and give the members of the board an opportunity to go back and share that with all the presidents and chancellors of their conferences and their athletics directors and coaches and student athletes. And we needed to give them ample opportunity to share this, to get feedback, and we hoped that we could get it approved at our in-person board meeting for January of 2022, this past January. And anyway, we met in January in hopes that we could pass it, but there were some issues still hanging out there that needed to be worked out. And yes, there were some couple of conferences that had some concerns, and we were not able to come to an agreement. And as I mentioned earlier, to amend the contract through the 2025 football season, like I mentioned with ESPN, we had to have unanimous consent. We know, and I've made it very clear to my fellow board members, that for the football season of 2026 and beyond, we do not have to have unanimous consent to move forward. But to amend an existing contract, we do. So that gave some leverage to some conferences that had some issues that we had to work through. We had another meeting in March of this year. I was hopeful we could come to an agreement then. We couldn't do it. We decided to meet again earlier this summer, and we couldn't come to an agreement this summer. And then we met 2 weeks. So we met in kind of, I guess, mid to late August of this year. And I felt like we were making good progress by then. So it's just really been a year since the proposal was laid on the table. And again, you've got there are more than just the 11 members of the board. We represent 131 universities who are members of the college football bowl subdivision. And so there's a lot of different, all across the country. So there are a lot of different ideas, approaches, things that had to be discussed on the table. And so it took some time to get resolved. And then we had our meeting on September. We said we're going to meet again in 2 weeks after our August meeting. And we're going to try to come up with a decision one way or the other. We're going to vote. We're definitely going to vote. We're going to take a position. We're not going to keep pushing this down and not taking a formal position. And everyone knew what was at stake. And so we voted. And it was, thank goodness, it was unanimous. And now that gives direction to the commissioners that they've needed from this board, these presidents and chancellors, who represent all of these different conferences and the University or Notre Dame University, to begin work to try to address some of these more details and logistics, sites, and can we go back and renegotiate now with Atlanta and Miami and start this moving forward? There's issues of distribution. There's all types of issues now that have to be worked out. But the commissioners have clear direction from the board and what we want and what we expect and what college football fans across the nation are hoping that we can get done and get it done as soon as we can, and hopefully 2024.
Wow.
Well, that would be remarkable, sir. Did you feel like this was the right time to expand? Because anytime you consolidate something or you build a highway, you have to plan ahead. So you just think it was a great time to just go for it with all the changes going on in college football?
Well, we started this conversation initially, a very serious conversation for the first time, really, in January of 2019 at our board meeting. And we had a very good discussion about it. It was time then, we felt like, to start the dialogue, start the process on expanding the playoff format. Because, 131 teams in the bowl subdivision for college football, and you only have 4 teams that can compete for the national championship. We felt like, going back again to 2019, that it was time to give more student athletes an opportunity to compete for their national championship. And another really good benefit of expanding the playoff, it makes the regular season that much more interesting for college fans, because as you get later into a season and how the team you support is doing, and you get excited about those maybe last 4 games of the regular season almost become like playoff games to help you get in that final 12 to be in your nation's national championship tournament, because it'll become a football tournament to determine who our national champion is. And just like our basketball, March Madness, and how everyone gets excited when your team makes it into the NCAA national basketball tournament. We want this to be something that gives student athletes more excitement, more opportunities, our fans to have more of an exciting experience. And once you get into a tournament, you may think that the number 1 ranked or the number 2 ranked team will be favorites, and they will be. But once you get into a tournament format, anything can happen.
Yeah. Dr. Keenum, I want to ask you something. I mean, I'm excited about what y'all are doing. The expansion, I think, you don't need me telling you it's a good idea, but I think it's a good idea. But, one thing I've noticed through the recent years is that players are really, the opting out is probably not the correct term, but not playing in bowl games. And
right.
That's really disturbed me. But I really think this is going to go a long way toward increasing, player excitement through, all the polls, all the 1 through 20 or whatever, all the way through the season. I think it's going to add a lot to the personnel that'll be playing in the postseason.
No question. I think that student athletes will be very excited to have an opportunity, again, to compete for the national championship. It puts them on some really big stages and opportunities to showcase their talents. And again, try to win a national championship. So I do think you'll see a lot of you'll see more participation, I think, and interest for student athletes, a willingness to want to participate in the playoffs. I think there's no question about that.
Well, sir, I think that we have proof in the pudding here in Mississippi, because I think the Ole Miss baseball team was almost left for dead. I don't know what happened to them, but they came alive at the right time, didn't they?
That's a wonderful example of a team that was on the bubble. University of Mississippi baseball team. It was the last team into the national tournament, and they just had a wonderful experience and won the whole thing, won the entire national championship. They were given a chance. Those student athletes, who probably very few people gave a chance to win the national championship, just barely got into the tournament, but won it all. And that's what I'm saying. That brings so much more excitement. That's a wonderful example to compare to what we're trying to create for college football, giving teams an opportunity to compete. You can look in the NFL when the playoffs come around, and you see wild card teams who have to go on the road and play every one of their games on the road, go all the way and win the Super Bowl. Give teams, give players, give coaches, fan bases an opportunity to be involved and compete, then it creates more excitement, and it just gives people more of an opportunity to compete instead of a limited opportunity that we have today.
Yes, sir, you're right about that. All right, so how are you going to decide the 12 teams, or how's the committee going to decide that? You got automatic bids?
Well, we'll still keep our current selection committee process in place, which these are outstanding individuals with very high integrity who do an excellent job of selecting teams now and ranking the teams to get to the 4 teams who will compete in the current playoff system, the current playoff format. And then, based on those rankings, the 6 highest-ranked conference champions will be in the playoff. And then the next 6 highest-ranked teams after the 6 conference champions will be in the playoff. So we call it the 12-team format, or the 6 and 6 format for the 12-team format. And that's what was proposed back again. What we adopted was the exact same proposal that was presented to the board summer of 2021.
Do you think with this system that with the 12 teams coming in, do you think that will slow down conference realignment just a little bit, knowing that some of these others now think that they at least will make the playoffs, where I guess in the past, the door was blocked for them?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. There are a lot of factors that go into conferences expanding and universities wishing or wanting or hoping to realign with another conference, and so there are a lot of factors that go into that. I know that I don't think we've seen the end of changes going on within conferences. I don't know the answer. I don't know if we'll see. The Southeastern Conference, for example, we don't go out asking schools to join our conference, but we do, and we are open to when a university comes to us and says we would really like to associate with the Southeastern Conference. We'll take that into consideration and look at how that might benefit our conference and benefit all of the programs, our athletics programs, and the academics of our institutions. So we factor all of that into our decisions. So, and I think the same goes for all the conferences. I know that the Pac-12, they've got the University of Southern California and UCLA have announced that they're going to realign with the Big Ten. So I think that the Pac-12 is going to have to decide what they want to do with their conference going forward. Do they want to stay where they are? Do they want to reach out and bring other schools into their conference? And if so, who? By doing that, does that impact some other conference and what they'll have to do to reshuffle and realign their conference? So once schools start moving from one conference to another, it has a ripple effect across several conferences. And so I don't know that the 12-team playoff will change that or enhance that. There are a lot of speculations that you'll see conferences just have a very few number of conferences, but they become very big. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. That's not something we're looking at. I'll just give you a little insight within the Southeastern Conference. We think we've got a great conference. We're excited to be welcoming University of Texas and University of Oklahoma no later than the 25 season. And we hope to maybe get them in our conference before then, but we'll see how that works out. But we're excited that they're going to be joining our conference, and we're already a very strong. I think the Southeastern Conference is from an athletic standpoint, and also from an academic standpoint, I think we're the best conference in the country, and so I think we're just going to be even that much more prestigious and strong across the board by including these two outstanding universities among our member schools.
Talking about Texas and Oklahoma, I know they've got championships of galore in the old Southwestern Conference or the Big Eight, ever what they were in, and they've won plenty in the Big 12 because I think they've got about, seems like 30 sports, especially Texas, maybe more than that. I'm not for sure, but why do you think they came to the SEC? Because it couldn't just be about money.
I think what I just said, I think they recognize that for their future and their prestige as institutions and thinking about, again, their future, I think they felt like they would be a better fit with the Southeastern Conference and for their future and their interest for their athletics programs, and so I'm very biased, of course. I think that the Southeastern Conference is the best, and I think they wanted to be affiliated with our conference because of our outstanding member schools and what we represent, and I think they wanted to be part of this for their future.
Dr. Keenum, I'm going to kind of flip the page here and get a little personal on you for a minute. And I was looking, and you've done a lot of things. Mississippi born and bred, as far as I can tell, looking on the internet, Carleton School, and all this stuff. And the things that you've done, working for Senator Cochran, I believe I read. The Board of International Food and Agricultural, U.S. Undersecretary of Agriculture, Foreign Agriculture, all these things you've done and that you're doing. And now the the Board of Governors college playoffs, Mississippi State University. You know, I don't know how you do it, but I would ask you this. What of these things sets your spirit on fire the most from a personal standpoint?
Well, you know, I've been very blessed in my life, and I'm very thankful every day for my blessings, both in my career and my family. And my family, I think, is the most important thing for me, my faith and my family. Yeah. And that gives me pretty fired up. I would say my faith is much first and foremost. And but you know, serving others, I was brought up that way. I was blessed. You mentioned Senator Thad Cochran. I spent a good many years working with him. Began my career on faculty here at Mississippi State before I went to serve Senator Cochran, and I learned so much from him and his leadership and his willingness to serve and help others, and it just was ingrained in me. And I've been very blessed to have been asked to serve in various capacities, and sometimes some of the folks that I work with here think my wagon gets a little loaded, and it does.
Yeah, I bet it does.
But you know, if I can do anything to be of help and service, then I'm willing to do it. And so and it's exciting for me to do different things. And you know, I think anyone needs to have opportunities to broaden their horizon and see other things and learn other things and meet new people and have new experiences and do it in a way that's serving and making a difference. That gets me excited, and I'm very proud and honored to have been asked to do some of the things that I've been able to do.
Well, sir, we want to thank you. Listen, we appreciate that. We're excited at that answer. You know, talk about faith and family. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for your time today, talking to a couple of yahoos down here in Wayne County, Mississippi. We sure appreciate it. You'll talk to anybody. We'll give you that.
I'm honored to have been asked. Thank you for that.
Now, I'm going to ask you to hang on for just a minute. We're going to take a break and to hear from some of our sponsors, but in our final thank you, we say, Hail State, and we'll be back right after this break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everyone, to our final segment tonight. Wow, what a guy. I'll tell you what, Mississippi State's got him a good one up there.
They do. They do. Very, very impressive. He's got his stick in a lot of fires, and he's trying to help put out and I guess keep flaming one or the other.
Yeah. So, what stuck out you the most about that interview, Dale? Anything in particular? While you're thinking about that, I'll tell you mine.
All right.
You know, it all gets down to faith and family.
Yeah.
You know, that guy, I'm going to tell you couldn't do the things that guy does without faith, the help of the good Lord, and the support of a good family. And sure. I mean, you know, that's you can't put a price on that.
Well, I think in any university, it's like being a CEO of a business. You got to have great people working for you. Yeah. And he does. And when you get into those commissioner meetings and president's meetings, I mean, you know, you've got to, I mean, for him to direct that, I mean, they've got to know this man. But, you know, he's talking to us like we're sitting down there at Hardee's for breakfast. You know, I mean, he's just got that personality, you know. So we do appreciate him being on the show.
We're very fortunate to have him.
He did a great job.
Well, listen, I'm going to remind all of our folks that you can follow us on Facebook at the Brouhaha, and you can also tune in to us on our YouTube channel at the Brouhaha, and you can follow us all during the week and keep up with things. But Dale, as it works out right now, it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
We'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Take us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.